fam, and welcome to a new video. Today I am going to be filming a book review, and I am really hoping that I don't get as many hate comments as I did for the last one, because I don't want that. Anyway, I am here to review Club You to Death by Anuja Chauhan. This is actually, funnily, my first ever Anuja Chauhan. I've been meaning to read her for a while now. A lot of my friends love her writing and have loved her books. And Anuya and Sharon actually call her the Chetan Bhagat that we deserve. And after reading this book, I kind of see what they mean. Her writing from the very beginning disarmed me with its charm. In the first chapter itself, I got to hear words like chut or ghanta or bt, which just reminded me of things that I usually say. So it was very clued into Gen Z, millennial, yes, millennial lingo. And yeah. Oh wait, I haven't told you what the book is about. So, this is, I think, Anuja Chauhan's sixth book, and all of the other previous books have been romance books, primarily. So this was her first foray into the mystery, thriller, murder sort of situation. So the book is set about this murder that takes place in this clubhouse, or this club, which is like a very fancy gymkhana in Delhi, and essentially this very famous and beloved uh, trainer dies or is murdered, and then the cops are called in to kind of solve it, and the cop who comes in is this ACP Bhavani, who refers to himself in the royal we, and looks at his knuckles and radiates like calmness and sympathy. And then this other guy who's a subordinate, who is Padam Kumar or PK, who's sort of like this chauvinistic but very Delhi sort of fellow, who is looking for a bride. And they are called in and asked to basically solve this murder super quickly, because this murder actually happened on the eve of a very important day for the club, which is the elections. So basically, through this book, you get to see a bunch of people, and their perspectives. You get to see the suspects, you get to see the people working the case. So you also get to see this perspective from this one guy called Akash or Kashi, who is a lawyer who also gets involved, and helps kind of solve the murder. There is his ex-flame, whose name is Bambi. There is a bunch of other people, and it's just very, very interesting. And why I say it's interesting is because these people in the book are not very likable, and they are also very, very real. Like, we know that there are people like this in South Delhi who talk like this, who behave like this, who have these sort of thoughts. And I feel like she did such a brilliant job of bringing this to life. So I was constantly reminded of these comedians called Kusha Kapila and Dolly Singh. I don't know if you know them, but if you don't, I will link their profiles down below. You should definitely check them out. They do these characters of sorts of these South Delhi women and girls, and it was just on point, because one of the girls actually in the book says, I am so dhanya, I am so blessed. Who says I am so dhanya, I am so blessed? But I am sure someone actually says this. So yeah, kudos to Anuja Chauhan for actually bringing this flavor into the books. And all of these characters are different shades of sexist, racist, classist, colorist, just all the ists. But it's also just very true of society, especially in Delhi. I found myself laughing, rolling my eyes, and just also trying to guess and conjecture who possibly could be the murderer, what was possibly going on. And hey, I have to give it to myself. I figured out who the killer was in chapter 4, but I didn't quite know why, the why done it, but I figured out the who done it. So that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't have any like hypothesis per se. I just had like this feeling in my head that this person is shady. So I just feel like happy and proud. And as I said earlier, all the characters in this book were extremely unlikable, except perhaps ACP Bhavani, who from the very beginning is made to look like this very astute, knowledgeable, sympathetic, empathetic character. All the rest of them were just pure assholes, in my honest opinion, with like shades of grey. Like everyone, you know, essentially what Anuja Chauhan did through this book was essentially show the mirror to society and make you see that how these people are, because these people were wild and disgusting, but also this was very real and very true. You got to also see various aspects of society, like how the political world is being shaped in our country, or what's happening with news media outlets, or even like how people are pseudo woke, but inside they just have the wrong intentions or just end up doing the wrong things, or they say something outside but then actually feel and do something completely different. And yeah, I just thought that she brought up these very interesting topics that you kind of thought over as well. However, apart from all of these great things, there were also a lot of things that troubled me. I felt like there were a lot of inconsistencies, and like plot holes in this book. I also felt like just things that happen in this book, I don't know if it would actually happen in real life. Like, for example, if a policeman actually does take the victim's phone back home and then it's like scrolling on it and to check out stuff on the phone of the victim who has died while like on his bed before he goes to sleep, I don't know. That just felt really, really weird to me. It was also sort of frustrating to kind of see everyone else put the pieces together after you had kind of put the pieces together. But I do have to say though that the end was something that I was not expecting. I mean, as I told you, I had guessed who done it, but why done it was something I definitely had not figured out. And I do not think that it's actually very easy to figure out who done it. It was actually like it. She just kept giving you these hints of like this one could be the murderer or this one could be the murderer, and in the end it actually was like kind of like a homage to Agatha Christie, wherein the lead detective kind of brings all the suspects and the people together into the room and like tells you about how the case unfolded and what happened. And there are things where he's like, oh, and he also solved the mystery of something else that happened with some other person, and that person may look like, oh, this person could be the killer, but no, not really, it's this other person. Let me solve this part of the like something that happened. So yeah, it just was like a very Agatha Christie-esque sort of thing, which I appreciated because it just took me back. But yeah, it was that sort of end, if you get what I mean. In the end, I gave this book a 3 stars. I really enjoyed the journey. However, I felt like there were a little too many inconsistencies or just small things that I got annoyed with, for me to kind of let go of that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this book still. I think that it is a great like time pass read. It's a book that you can definitely read before or after a really heavy read, or if you're like get feeling slightly slumpy or whatever, this would be actually a great way for you to get out of that slump, because it's very fast paced and is very, very racy. So yeah, maybe that could help. But yes, please keep in mind it has some very annoying characters. So I think that's it for my book review. I have tried to give absolutely zero spoilers. So I hope that this was good for you. Let me know if you want to discuss this book. You can always DM me on my Instagram if you have read this book, or like comment down below with your thoughts if you have read this book. Let me know if you plan to read this book. Also, this was my first ever Anuja Chauhan, so I do definitely plan to read more of her because I want to see what her like romance novels are like as well. So if you have a suggestion of like a book that I should start off with, let me know in the description. I mean, not comments. What is my head? Okay, basically I've just been feeling migrainey and that's why I have the dark lipstick, because I'm feeling like dark and inside. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it for now. I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye!